going to break down the moves in the third form. So our first movement is going to be step back to the right corner. So generally, stepping straight backwards and straight forward are not going to be the best options. Depends on the circumstance, but generally if we're fighting, we want to kind of fight in at an angle. So if I'm hitting you here, you want to move to this side because this side is going to be open. Same thing if I was here, you're going to corners instead of straight back. Because if you're in front of me and you just step back, I might keep coming forward unless you do something to stop me, which we deal with in the second form. We use a palm strike to stop that movement. But here we're going to work angles. So our first move is a step to the back right corner with a inside out or a reverse block here. So the punch is coming here. We're deflecting off to the side so that when they're punching, we're knocking the arm here and we now have the side exposed. This hand can come back because it's so far away, there's nothing coming from this side that I need to protect from. And even if something was coming from the other side, I can use my front hand to defend. I don't need this hand up to do it. Instead, I'm pulling back so I can throw from farther away to throw the punch instead of like here and then punching here. Okay, so we're stepping back. Now, the stance I'm using here is kind of a front stance. But when I do the step, I'm drawing my front foot back a little bit. So if it was just a straight front stance, it would be like right here. Very locked into place. With this, I pull this back a little bit. It's not so rigid because this is a position designed to push me forward. So when I do the step, this leg is bent, both toes are kind of pigeon-toed. This is technically a left side forward stance, okay? Kind of. Generally, left side forward would be a little bit more sideways. Front stance would be a little bit more open. This is somewhere in between. It's not a normal stance we would use. This is kind of the one time we're using it. Normally, I just teach it and say, it's a front stance, but it's not quite. Okay, so I go to the corner, I do my block. The reason it's not, because I draw that foot back. I do the same step, a little bit farther than I normally would step, because I'm landing on my toes. And then my foot is here, and then I'm setting myself back and drawing my front foot in so that I maintain that normal distance. But I'm pulling this in so this is got a slight bend because I'm going to push myself forward. Now, the more that I train this foot in, that doesn't help me a whole lot unless they get closer to me. Okay, so here, I got a little bit of room to move forward for the next move. So inside-outside block, we've knocked your arm to the side. We're going to cover it, okay? Because I don't know what they're going to do. They might hit and be sloppy and leave it out there. That's a possibility, okay? Although most people throw kind of a hook if they're not trained, and it's untrained people that's going to leave their hand out there mostly, unless they train to leave their hand out there. So when we come here, we've opened up the side. The hand is here. My block ends up slightly about here. But I'm going to flip the hand over and put my hand, or my forearm, essentially behind, not going to really use my hand, it's more my forearm here, against the back of their arm. Okay, what that does is it puts, when I step forward in this position, so it's like our inside, it's just like our inside-outside block, but it might come in a little bit shorter because it is a forward movement. This comes more from Wing Chun, was a bit more of a Bill style. Okay, so it's here, and then forward. This hand is generally we're punching under. Okay, so I'm coming from the hip, which normally would be here in Wing Chun, but we're lower. There's a hybrid cross between Taekwondo and Wing Chun. So it's here, but I'm pushing it from the center of my chest, like Wing Chun. So one, and it comes up. So when I actually hit, I'm doing a little bit of a forward, an upward movement. The idea is to aim for the bottom rib and be punching a little bit upward. So not straight into the rib, but the rib, and I'm in a low stance hitting up a little bit, like this. Now, my opponent can do a few different things. One would be if they threw this, and then the next thing they throw is this hook. Well, that's the second reason we're using that Bill Sao there. So we're here. If they brought that hand back and threw a hook, this blocks inside the arm. 1, 2. And then what happens when they throw that, their body turns. So they are this way. If you or me, and I punched and you deflected this way using that technique, I'm over here. If I pull this hand back, I've changed my angle. So here, we're aiming for that bottom rib. Okay? If I turn, the bottom rib's gone, but we have this entire center line to strike at. And the Bill Sao blocks this. I like to aim, generally, I'm aiming for the throat. Okay, it could be anywhere, center of the chest, face. I like to generally aim at the throat though. So I'm coming here, and the reason that is because I'm lifting this to shoulder height to punch. And if they turn into me, and I'm punching upward, that's where I'm going to end up hitting. So it's not so much that I'm trying to hit there, although I did try to do that Wing Chun. It's just more, that's just how it's going to happen depending on how they turn. So the movement is 1, 2. Okay, this cannot be out here. Elbow cannot be out. Elbow is inside. Okay. Now the next main point about this is I can't move forward and then hit. So I can't come here and then step forward and hit. My hand is moving forward as I move forward, and it's ending as I'm stopping, if that makes sense. 1, this is mostly extended by the time it hits my opponent. Okay, if I use the wall here, find a stud. Okay, if I move here and then punch, I'm only punching the short distance, and I'm not hitting very hard. Whereas if I'm here and I extend that from farther away, I get more oomph on that hand, and I'm actually going to cause some pain when I hit something. Okay, I don't want to push somebody with it. I want it to be a strike. Okay, so part of that is learning how quickly you need to strike, but also gauging your distance. So 1, 2. Okay, and this is in. This is in here. Bill Sao, not inside outside block. Here, it's in center. Okay, because again, let's say I punched here, you put that, let's say that hand is here when you move forward, that elbow slips through and you get an elbow to the face. If it's behind my elbow, it shoves my elbow and you're hitting me, so you're both creating space and striking hard. Okay, the creating the space is coming from this pushing the arm into you, not from the punch hitting you. The punch is meant to it's meant to be a quick impact and not a push. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, and that is the move in the form. Elbow in tight. This is a little bit open, right? I can't cross my hands in here, but this is basically just past center. Okay, it's more even with my eyes. Okay, but doing this with a partner, that will show you where it actually needs to be, right? If your angle's a little bit off, or if they're turning a little bit different, this is a general guideline of where things need to be, but with a live partner, it might be different. If I got a person with a longer arm, I can move this out farther, right? If their elbow is here, my elbow's right here, but if theirs was here, then I can move my hand out farther and be behind the elbow. If they got shorter arms, I need to bring my hand in even tighter, okay, because I need to cover that elbow, and then this will punch underneath. So that's the first sequence of the third form.